Welcome back, everybody. I am a toddler mom. How did this happen so fast? My daughter turned 1 year old, and it just feels like the past year went by so fast, but at the same time, so much happened. So I'm going to film this video, and it's just going to be a little bit of a review of what the last year was like for me. When I had Clara, when she was born, I immediately fell in love with her. For me, it was really like picture book perfect, where I fell in love with her and I fell in love with being a mom right away. I had like none of the problems that some other women face because I was just so full of happiness. And then, I loved nursing, and we had some issues in the beginning with nursing. You're free, you can check out my breastfeeding video if you like. I'll put it in the cards above there. But essentially, after we had our lip and tongue tie fixed, all problems went away, and I nursed her, and I'm still continuing to nurse her. It's really easy. I love it. And it makes me feel so close to her, and like we're bonding so much. So really, I had her, and with that, this crazy journey of being a new mom started. It did get a little bit difficult. At almost 3 months old, I went back to work. Now, I'm here in Canada, so you have the options of maternity leave. But for those of you who don't know, I'm in graduate school, or I was in graduate school at the time, doing my PhD. So it was kind of important for me to get through that and finish all of that. And I'm going to do a whole different video about having a baby in grad school, and that's going to be up the next video in 2 weeks. But for now, what I want to say is that although I was so happy being a mom, like incredibly happy, I loved every moment of it. What was really hard for me was separation from my baby. I had such severe anxiety not having her with me. I did not feel good about that at all. And I do think it's kind of a natural thing. Like, I'm her mom, I'm there to protect her, and giving her to someone else and having her out of my sight didn't feel right for me. So when I went back to work, I'm really fortunate. I taught just one course, and I only had to go to campus once a week. The rest of the work I could do from home and communicate with my students as well as my teaching assistants online. So it worked out well in that regard. But I wasn't going to leave my daughter at home. Initially, we had thought I would, my husband had paternity leave, so he was at home. He was going to, watch out for her, and he was going to bottle feed her pumped breast milk. That didn't work for me. I mean, the thought of it made me cry so hard. So in the end, we decided if it makes me feel so uncomfortable, that's no good. So I have an amazingly supportive family. My husband and my daughter came to campus with me so that I could nurse her before my meetings, after my meetings, before class, after class, and then we'd all drive back home. And that was stressful. It was stressful for me, it was stressful for my husband, and I do think it was stressful for my daughter, who had to ride in the car an hour to campus. But it was the only thing that worked for me. And it makes me really happy to say that I was able to, breastfeed the whole time. I know how hard that is for some moms to breastfeed. There's nothing wrong with bottle feeding. But for me, the idea of having to give my daughter a bottle was anxiety inducing, and I chose not to put myself through that, and I chose to breastfeed her, and it worked out. So I ended up teaching this course. It went from January to April, taught the whole course, and then right after, we took Clara on our first proper family vacation. We took her and we flew to Panama, and I really needed that. It was such an amazing time for not only me and, with Clara, but also for my husband and me to kind of have this time kind of out of our everyday life and really reconnect now as a family, and to have these special excursions and to kind of discover the world now as parents and how different it feels to travel with a baby. And I think sometimes it's good to come out of your normal shell. We have a beautiful life here. We have this gorgeous farm. I was able to take Clara out a lot, even though we're in the Canadian winter. I just bundled her up, and we have one of those jogging strollers, so I was able to just go through the snow, and I took her out a decent amount even in the cold. because I needed that for myself to be out in the fresh air and get some sunshine, and I think that's really healthy. But to also get out in the world and discover what it's like to travel with a baby was really exciting for me, and I loved that experience. And I'm gonna link a playlist up there with some of the videos that was us on this amazing island in Panama where you had to go to and from by boat, taxi. Like it was just incredible. So it was a great experience. Once we got back home, it was time for me to really work on my PhD. Now, I had a really rough draft done of my PhD before I had Clara, and then I went on maternity leave for 1 semester. After my maternity leave, I went back to school, but I was teaching and it was too much for me to teach, take care of my daughter, and work on that PhD. That was just, it was a lot. I did a little bit of work, of course, because you have to. So I got enough work done that I sent a few chapter drafts into my doctoral supervisor, my committee, so they reviewed them while I was in Panama. Once I got back from Panama, it was time to really buckle down and get that work done. And the summer was hard because I had this beautifully growing daughter, and I didn't want to miss a minute of her, crawling and sitting, and she was doing all that by now, and now standing and playing outside in her little kiddie pool, and with this in her little sandbox, like all of these moments, right, that are so special. I didn't want to miss out on any of that. So that meant I worked a lot while she slept. And of course, her naps aren't long enough to write a dissertation, so I stayed up at night a lot, which meant I was very sleep deprived for much of the summer. Now, I'm super fortunate. My mother got a grandparent visa here in Canada. My parents don't live in Canada, but my mother got a visa for 1 year to come to Canada, stay here, to be with her grandchild and help me out. And she did. She would watch my daughter once in the morning and once in the afternoon, usually for about an hour and a half, however long, was fine. And I would kind of nurse before, after, that kind of thing. And so that I could work those times in addition. And guess what? I got it done. At the end of the summer, I handed in my dissertation and I went in, I had my oral exam, I defended my dissertation, and I passed. So that was super exciting. In fact, my daughter came to my doctoral defense. My husband, Tim, and my mom were outside with her. They were playing outside while I was defending, and then when I defended, she came in, and when they said, congratulations, Dr. Chisholm, she was right there, and it was amazing. So I'm going to talk a lot more about the experience of being in grad school with a baby in my video in 2 weeks. But all of that being said is that it's insane. So much happened in the past year, and in between it felt like forever because I was so tired, not only in the beginning, but also when she was 8-9 months old and I was working on my dissertation and getting all of that done. But it was all worth it. And I can honestly say, I'm looking back at the past year and say, I didn't miss out on a moment of being a new mom, and I treasure every moment that I had with her. We did a lot of fun things. I took her to a baby singing group when she was 3 months old that lasted like 3 months, so it was like between 3 and 6 months. We went there and we were like singing songs, baby songs, and doing all these little movements and whatnot you do with them. And I went to baby talk at the community center where you just meet with other moms who have babies in the same age. And I took her to baby gymnastics, which is like the coolest thing ever, and she loves. We're still going, and it's just a lot of fun to be in this massive gym with all these like balls and trampolines and whatnot, and it's just babies all over the place. It's super fun, and I recommend that anyone who has the opportunity take advantage of that. So I can honestly say that this past year was the most exciting year of my life, and it was by far the happiest year of my life. It was also probably the most stressful year of my life because having a new baby also means learning so much, not only for them, but for, us new parents. Like, oh my goodness, like there's so many things I didn't know about that I'm still learning about. And it's so fun though. Like for me, it was so fun to kind of figure out, all of these little things like what kind of toys work best for a tummy time, like how do I set up my changing station, like, and there's so much more, right? Like there's so much about these developmental milestones, and our daughter, she developed very quickly physically. So she was walking she was crawling early, she was standing early, she was walking early. So sometimes it just feels like everything happens so fast and you're like, slow down time, like I want to treasure these moments. But overall, I think I really did manage to treasure these moments, and I'm excited to now be a toddler mom, and I hope you're going to be part of that journey and watch our videos. I'm posting a vlog every week and a few of these sit-down videos every other week right now. So stay tuned for our video in 2 weeks, all about having a baby in grad school. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!